Hey people, I'm trying Mobizen Live again because my newer phone just has, you know, reception issues, and I'm using my older phone because I wanted to look at something that I would like to alert everyone to, so that if I want to talk like a southerner, so that y'all can check it on out. So, JW Blood Doctrine is the name of a video that Lizzie B put out, like in the middle of the night, I guess, probably. And so I subscribed to her because she has put out a number of videos that I find to be well done and articulate issues with the cult that she was in, the Watchtower, Bible and Tract Society, the Jehovah's Witnesses. Yes, I'm kind of outside. Okay, so this is a good video, and there are some things that really relate to Mormonism in here that I want to discuss in a fairly short video. I guess by the time, well, if you're watching it right now, then you won't know how long it's going to go, but later on you'll see that it's probably not that long. So she's talking about the JW Blood Doctrine, and we've probably, a lot of us heard those stupid JWs. God dang, what is their freaking problem? They want to take a blood transfusion and let the children die, and so we just figure, oh well, they don't have the fullness of the gospel, and God forgive them for their stupidity, or whatever passing thoughts we might have had regarding that. So there will be a couple of reasons why I'm recommending her video. Actually, I haven't even finished it. I was like halfway through, and I have things to do, and I need to get out of here and get something done before that's not a good option. And so she does a good job of laying out some of the scriptures and some of the background, and then her beliefs versus what she feels is a massive misinterpretation of what was intended by whoever the hell wrote, the Pentateuch back in the day, which she feels was, dealing with some health and safety issues. You don't want to be eating animals that have been, rotten in the sun with their blood gathering bacterial whatever. So, population growth. So, I want to look at the aspect of this. She's talking about there are tens and tens of thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses, people, members of her former cult, who have died, who have sacrificed their lives, who have committed suicide, essentially, she's saying, and actually, suicide through by omission, by omitting the possibility of taking a blood transfusion or an organ transplant when it could have saved life. Not only that, but effectively sacrificing their children on the altar of the freaking Watchtower Bible and Tract Society by saying, sorry, Johnny can't have a lung transplant, a heart transplant, or double lung transplant, whatever, kidney, liver. He can't have it because we're J-Dubs, and I know he's only 6 years old. He can't make these decisions for himself, but we're going to be faithful members of the one true church, God's one true church, the JW Church, and we're just going to take the hit. We'll catch him in the next round in the exalted earth or whatever, We're not in the chosen 144, but we'll be in the heaven on earth thing, and we'll just hold out for little Johnny till then. We'll take one for the team. So I'm trying not to not to be quite so liberal and progressive as Zelf on the Shelf crew and start dropping a bunch of F-bombs at this point. But I'm pretty effing, you know, angry when I think about this. Yeah, these people are being asked to sacrifice their children. And that's part of the whole martyr, the value of what's done. And Mormonism is something that it's the endure to the end, put the organization in the name of the deity, but loyalty to the organization above all. Sacrifice anything. Okay, and so think about your temple covenants. You are saying, you will sacrifice everything you've ever had, everything that you ever will have, everything with which the Lord may bless you. So in other words, anything you can have came from God. Any good thing that ever came from God, or will come from the God of Israel. That He's already got instant credit for anything good, and anything bad, that just came from the devil. And that's part of the trials of life. You got to endure to the end. And you owe it all. You're nothing. You don't even, what's the King Benjamin doctrine, You don't even own yourselves. You owe everything to God, so you're freaking nothing. This is perfect cult doctrine, in case you don't understand, how this works, the mind control that's used. It's easier to look at when you're looking at someone else's religion, and you can just say, poor Lizzie, she was just brought up in this shit, or for some reason she just wasn't thinking as clearly, as we Mormons, or maybe are into the old, or maybe you haven't thrown out what you got taught earlier, from Bruce McConkie and Mark Peterson and stuff, and you're saying, well, she's a fence sitter in the pre-existence. What the hell do you expect? She's lucky she found God at all, right? But fact is, we swallowed some shit too, So we've had these things. Oh, Joseph the martyr. Oh, the boys that brought those people across the icy river. They all gave their lives for Mormonism. They all died, or well, they were helping people get across the river, but they didn't need to be crossing that river in the first place. Brigham Young wasn't wanted for counterfeiting until the people God wanted him to, that God needed him to go to Utah area somewhere right then in the middle of stinking winter and sacrifice so many lives because that son of a bitch, was willing to sacrifice anyone and everything for himself when the warrants came out, to arrest him on federal warrants for counterfeiting, which probably should have happened a long time before that when Joe was running the counterfeiting business. Then all those people wouldn't have died. But we're taught that, we're taught these similar things. We're taught it in the ensign when we read, oh, so-and-so was so damn faithful that they didn't make their house payment. They paid their tithing. Gosh darn it, they paid their tithing. Because these people so faithful, they paid their tithing, And you know what? Normally when they put that in the ensign. But then there was a miracle, Their boss just suddenly had an inspiration to give them a raise and advance them 2 months' pay or some bullshit like that, because they were faithful and paid their tithing. When it's tithing, if they put it in there about tithing, the theme is they were willing to sacrifice all things, but gosh darn, if a miracle didn't happen and they weren't rewarded, and they doubled their freaking income, and everything all happened just because they were so damn faithful. That is exactly the type that's what's being exemplified in this video that Lizzie B's doing here, and it's not just about that. She breaks down a lot of things that are kind of more familiar to the Jehovah's Witnesses religious culture that I think it's good for Mormons and other people to take a look at. Mormons, ex-Mormons, well, whoever's watching this, it's educational, and the more, and then she talks about some other cults, Heaven's Gate, and she says she was a little girl during Heaven's Gate, so she's younger, and I remember that. I remember looking at all the cars and all the helicopters and shit, and we're like, what happened with these people? It was big news. So we just drove, and we were watching what was going on. Don't drink the Kool-Aid or the James Jones thing. Those people were asked to sacrifice their lives. Well, the JWs who sacrificed their lives when sacrificed their children. They're sacrificing their children. God, my voice is so screwed up. Anyway, they're sacrificing their poor, innocent little children for this bullshit. When they go to the hospital, they need a blood transfusion. They got hit by a car. Sorry, little Johnny. Sorry, little Rachel. You're screwed because we're in this freaking retarded church. And now she talks about, what could have been, useful about. It doesn't even say anything about blood transfusion. God dang. It talks about don't be drinking animals' blood, It's ridiculous, but it's a faithfulness test. That's why it's emphasized so much, and I didn't know how much it was emphasized, and she talks about that. So it is used as a faithfulness test, and we have faithfulness tests in the LDS Church. Word of Wisdom's used for that. Oh, there was a toast to the general, and so-and-so, it was very awkward, but he didn't partake, and now, here's how it worked out so much better, and he got all these promotions because they respected him, because he wouldn't back down on his moral convictions of being willing to sacrifice his life for anything for Mormonism. And those are the types of things, whether it's March Across the Plains and all those people died because of, or think about all those people that came from England, they've been told, oh yeah, it's great there and all this good stuff, the land of plenty. Oh, that stuff about polygamy, oh, that ain't no thing, nobody's doing that, it's just some rumor the goddamn Gentiles told us, John Taylor saying stuff like that and making pamphlets and leaflets to that effect when he had 12 wives because he's just a lying piece of shit, like all those guys who are a bunch of Freemasons. And so many people, and then they get there and they don't have any money, especially these women, they don't have anything, and then they're forced into these polygamous relationships for survival, for survival purposes. And these SOBs running the church who are just, I'm sorry folks, but if you're one of those people, if you're faithful LDS and you're thinking, oh, this guy, he's just, talking shit about the Lord's anointed, I guess I'm getting really loose lipped here this morning. You've been conditioned so long, reading all this stuff turns these boys into folk heroes and shit like they're some kind of Paul Bunyan. And these guys are pieces of shit. They are. These are bad people. Brigham Young is a mass murderer. Joseph Smith he's not just some guy that just, occasionally, had a, drink of wine or something. If you read about the spiritual wife system and the exploitation and, people, yeah, I'm sure he's got blood on his hands. Definitely. And the horrors. Read what Joseph H. Jackson had to say. You can discount him if you want to, but I'm sorry. The default is not that Joe was holy, and all these are just evil anti-Mormons, making up shit because you've been conditioned to believe that. The truth is, the consistency of the story is these people were these were men that they're organized crime leaders, and they were willing to stop at nothing to get what they wanted, and they don't give a shit about you, and they never did, and the guys at the top don't now. They they do some good acting. They've been trained, in their NLP, but these guys at the top are pieces of shit, and they want you to sacrifice anything and everything in whatever test it is, where you're willing to give up 2 years of your life going all over the world to promote their goddamn corporate empire, teaching people a bunch of lies. Then sorry, you think you're spreading the word of Elohim and Jesus Christ, and you are not. And it's a science of manipulation and getting you to identify with and covenant to do anything that they say, to obey the corporate directors as if they were divinely inspired, and sacrifice anything and all things. That is what they want you to do, and that's what these Jehovah's Witnesses are doing with the Blood Doctrine, and that's what you're doing in the house of the Lord. In the name of the age of reason. Amen. Go check out the video. Like I said, Lizzie B, she's worth subscribing to. She doesn't put out stuff like all the time, but when she does, about every other one I feel is one that I'm glad that I watched. And this one, she did it's very educational. She's articulating a lot of things very well. And Southern Boz lady, I know you're already on it, but most of these other folks that aren't familiar with the cult that screwed up your life and Lizzie's will benefit from this video, knowing about this, because it's a technique that's used upon many of us in many different cults, and we knew it not, including the cult of U.S. citizenship and our heroes in uniform protecting us as they frickin' massacre people all over the world who never did shit to us. Amen.